have been operating in the past few months as part of the Gideon's Chariots operation. Today, three Givati combatants were buried: Staff Sergeant Lior Steinberg, Staff Sergeant Ofek Brana, and Staff Sergeant Omer Van Gelder of blessed memory. All three were killed in combat in the Jabalia region in the north of the Gaza Strip. May their memory be a blessing. We would like to extend our condolences to the families at these difficult hours, and we will continue to support them during our operations in the Jabalia region last night. The combatants who were traveling in a hammer went on an IED. The terrorists came out from a tunnel shaft and put these charges. The shaft of the tunnel, which you can see now, was the exit point for the terrorists, and they put the explosive charges through there. This is an active tunnel that is used for terrorist acts, and the shaft is inside a demolished building near a route. And it is important to emphasize this building is a military target, like tens of thousands of other facilities all over Gaza that are used for terrorism. Almost every second house is booby trapped and has a shaft to a tunnel. We are demolishing these buildings not for purpose of destroying it, because each such a building is an operational site that can harm our soldiers. During the holiday, the IDF forces expanded the maneuver in Gaza. We are taking over territories and cleansing them of terrorists. We are in the midst of an extensive operation, both above the ground and beneath the ground. So far, since we've renewed the combat and since the beginning of the operation, we've attacked many terrorist targets throughout the Gaza Strip. Let me emphasize, we are operating based on a proper plan, and the purpose is to bring back the hostages and demolishing the military and governmental capabilities of Hamas. As you can see on the map that you see on the screen right now, there are 5 divisions still operating in the Gaza Strip, both conscripts and reservists. All of them are out there. All of them are maneuvering and fighting. The fighting is proceeding according to the nature of this current operation. They are taking over the territory and not allowing the Hamas to return to the places they've taken over. Last week, we've confirmed that the archive murderer Mohammed Sinwar has been murdered. The blood of thousands of Israelis is on his hands. Just like other Hamas activists, he was targeted and killed while he was hiding on purpose beneath a hospital. We will continue to go after the Hamas leaders wherever they are, inside Gaza Strip and outside. Alongside the ongoing military pressure, the grasp on the government is being constantly undermined. Throughout the week, specific sites were opened in the south of the Gaza Strip in order to distribute humanitarian aid. Distributing food in such a way separates the population for Hamas and harms the Hamas's ability to govern. On a daily basis, tens of thousands of food packages are distributed by an American company directly to the people of Gaza. In addition, 1,400 trucks have been waiting on the Gazan site of the transfer point Kerem Shalom. The IDF and Israel are doing whatever necessary. From there on, it is the responsibility of the UN to distribute. We are doing everything we can in order to allow for the food to be distributed in an organized fashion and to make sure that the aid does not reach the hands of Hamas. It has proven itself, this plan. The people of Gaza reach these compounds and they understand that it's not Hamas that are taking care of them. On the contrary, Hamas are trying to prevent the aid from reaching them. And they understand this threat, so they are acting violently and they're trying to disrupt the arrival of this aid to the residents. And you could see Hamas armed activists shooting at civilians who were going to collect this aid. In southern Khan Yunis, they opened fire, the terrorists, from short range and threw stones on Gazan civilians who tried to collect the aid. Hamas is losing its control over the population. It is continuing to act against its own people with terrorism, killing, and violence. And it is disseminating fake news, and it is echoed by some of the media outlets in the West without verification. It was said that the IDF shot at civilians in an food distribution center, and that is completely unfounded and false. It is propaganda of Hamas. The Chief of General Staff debriefed what had happened there in order to reach the truth. Earlier today, IDF forces about half a kilometer from the compound shot at people who came close to the compound, and that risked the lives of the soldiers. We are debriefing this event, and we will find out the truth. We are not preventing Gazans from reaching these aid hubs. On the contrary, we are allowing it. It is Hamas which is preventing it. I am aware of the time I am aware of the criticism on how long it takes to debrief and verify, but because reliability is critical, even if it takes time, I'm here to tell you the whole truth. The truth in our reports, even if it takes time to reach this truth, we owe that truth first and foremost to all soldiers. In this case, these are reservists from Brigade 179 that have come to do the reserve duty. Once again, the commander of the brigade, Colonel Y, he is leading his combatants into the battlefield while his wife is in the delivery room as we're speaking. That is the spirit of our soldiers since the beginning of the war. They show up despite all the difficulties. Hamas will pay a price for its refusal. Just like instructed by the Chief of General Staff, we are increasing our fighting and we will expand our maneuvering to other areas, both in the north and the south of the Gaza Strip. We're going to continue to operate until we reach the conditions for bringing back the hostages and defeating Hamas. It is prepared, the IDF, in all regions, both on the offensive and defensive, killing terrorists and constantly taking action in order to safeguard the security of Israeli citizens. That's it for now. Any questions? Eli Yushbach from Channel 12 News. I would like to address what you said at the end. Time and again, there are events and incidents around the aid hub. And in the meantime, there's a narrative in international media. The Hamas claimed that 24 people were killed and over 200 injured, and you are trying to debrief the event. And I'd like to ask you, what do you know about what happened there this morning? Well, first of all, I'd like to say that this method is a new method. It's unique, it's creative, and it actually works. It works well. Just see what has happened over the past few days. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Gazans, even more, are receiving food. That's the bottom line. That's the purpose. So it's going well. We're going to expand this for two reasons. First of all, in order to feed the population, like we said, and also in order to undermine the governability of Hamas. And it works. You can see the facts. And of course, we learn from every case. We improve on a daily basis. We were prepared to all kinds of scenarios, even worse scenarios than what we've seen, and we're constantly improving. I talked about the incident on Sunday. It never happened. It took time. It takes time to look into and examine. I was there. The Chief of General Staff was there to debrief. We spoke with the battalion commander, the brigade commander. Ultimately, you reach the individual tank that's on ongoing combat. And Hamas, they reported on identical numbers today and yesterday, 29. Today, they shot as a warning. They didn't hit such a number of people the way we understand it. But of course, we're going to continue to look into this. And one we know that they did shoot as a warning sign towards a group of people that came there and were a threat to our forces very far from the place where they're supposed to be. They weren't in the marked area where they were supposed to be. They shot them not in order to act towards them, not to harm them, just as warning. We're looking into it, but we're going to reach the truth. Yoav Borovich from Channel 1 News. Does the IDF think that we should send combatants to Gaza after having fought for 18 months and now they claim they can no longer continue to fight? Look, first of all, it's important to say that we truly appreciate and value our soldiers who are doing an excellent job in all sectors. We've never seen such a war except for the 1948 War of Independence. Perhaps tens of thousands of reservists, as we're speaking, are out there in combat, and many more than that. All up the regular divisions and brigades are fighting, and also in the center of the country and in the north of the country. We see high motivation. I'd like to say that. I see that both among reservists and the conscripts. They have a high combat spirit. Alongside that, like I said, it's a challenging war. It's been going on for a long time. These are specific individual cases that you're talking about. We're looking into the situation. The commanders have a freedom and action to react in whatever way they choose in their units. Jonathan Rave from I-24 News. Is there a fear of chaos in the Gaza Strip that might risk the hostages in such a way that you won't have a counterpart for a deal? Look, it's a gradual campaign. We do have a well-organized program, as we've said in the past. Let me say, first of all, that we are prepared. We are flexible enough to provide a response to whatever situation evolves. bringing back the hostages is, of course, something we're constantly focusing on, and we are prepared for any kind of negotiation that will succeed in order to bring them back home. We are operating in a systemic and methodic manner, and we're constantly assessing the situation and preparing for every scenario. I cannot elaborate beyond that, but these issues are things that we're
גל גנות,
constantly
ידיעות
thinking
אחרונות
about.
ynet. biom rishon האחרון ביצעו
Galganot
פעילות
from
פרו-פלסטינית
Ynet.
בסירה
This
בנמל
past Sunday,
בסיציליה כדי להשווה
pro-Palestinian
ולעצור על
activists left
עזה.
on a boat from
עד כה
Sicily
לא
in order
ראינו
to
אף
break the
התייחסות לא
siege on
מישראל
Gaza.
ולא
So
מצה"ל
far, we
לנושא.
haven't
יכול
seen
להיות
any
שלדעתכם
comment,
אזרחי
neither from
ישראל
Israel
יתייחסו
or the
לדוח
IDF
מה
on
קורה
this subject.
במשט
Could you inform
שנמצאים
Israelis
שם?
what the IDF plans to do with this flotilla?
צה"ל ערוך
Gal,
להגנה על אזרחי מדינת
the IDF
ישראל
is prepared
במרחבי
for
הגנה קדמיים
protecting
בכל הגזרות,
Israeli
בצפון,
citizens in
בדרום, במרכז
all
וגם בזירה
sectors, in
הימית
the
וגם
north, in
בכל
the
ימי
south, in the
הכוננות כדי
center,
להגן על
and
אזרחי
in the
מדינת
maritime
ישראל בים
sector
וגם
as well.
ביציאה
We
מהשטחים
are
הכבושים
prepared
לענף
to
הפלסטיני
defend Israel's borders. We're
וההתיישבות
prepared, but I'm not going to
צברנו
elaborate
ניסיון
on
בשנים
how we're
האחרונות
preparing. We've
ותכף
accumulated some experience in recent years, and we're going to act
בר
accordingly.
פלג מהארץ. בשבוע שעבר
Val Pelek
פרסמנו
from
כי פועלות
Haaretz
בצד עשיינו
newspaper.
תחקירים של
Last week,
לפחות
we
54
have
חטופים
published
מתחילת
that the
המלחמה.
activities
באחת
of the
הפעולות, תקיפת
army have
חיילים
risked
לפני
the
4
lives of at
שבועות
least
סיכנה את
51
חייהם של
hostages
מתן
since the beginning of
צנגאוקר
the
ועידן
war.
אלכסנדר.
One
תיעוד
operation 4 weeks
שבקרבה
ago
הביאו גם
risked the lives
להארץ
of
וגם לכלי
Matan
תקשורת נוספים.
Tzengauker and
התקיפה
Idan
לא סיכנה את חייהם,
Alexander, and
התקיפה
it
אינה ולא
has been
שונותם,
said to the media that it
ובמערב
did not
השרון
risk
הם
their lives,
ושכניהם
but
הרגישו והרגישו
Einav,
גזים
Matan's
מהצתת צה"ל.
mother, said
האם תוכל
that
לומר
where
למשפחות
they were
החטופים
in
כי
the tunnel,
התמרון
they
הצבאי
could feel and
במסגרת
smell the
הסכם יחידות
gases.
דרום לא יוביל
Can
לשום
you tell
הפחתה?
us that the military
אני אנצל
maneuver
את
as
ההזדמנות
part of
לשתף
Gideon
אתכם
chariots will not harm and risk
שאנחנו
the
בחודשים
hostages?
האחרונים
First of all, I'd like to share
יושבים
with you
בשפט
that
כמעט
over
חודש
recent
וחצי
months, every
ככל
week, almost
שהלו"ז
every week, we've been meeting. I mean, as far as our the schedule of the Chief of
נפגשים עם
General
משפחות
Staff
חטופים
allows
עצורים
for it,
ביקשנו
we
מפגשים
meet with the
שהשבנו
families
משבויי
of
חמאס
hostages and
מטרת
also
המפגשים
with the
לשמוע
hostages
אותם
who have
מביקורת
returned from Hamas captivity. The purpose
וחשוב
of
כדי
these meetings
להבין
is, first of all,
והשאלה
to hear them
נשאלה
out. And
האם
the second
העבר
point is
בין
to
שליחות
understand.
צה"ל
And we did
בין
ask the
שליחות
question. We asked
שמסוגלות
them
בידי
what happened
הפצצות
when IDF forces
מההפצצות של צה"ל
maneuvered next to them when they heard the
מאוד
echoes of the
מלמדות
explosions.
מאוד
And we
משפיעות
learned a lot
הרמטכ"ל
from
אפילו
these
אמר להם
meetings.
בראש
They have
העצרת
a
זכרו
great impact. And the Chief
אני
of
שומע אתכם
General
כדי
Staff
ללמוד
told them, and I'm quoting him,
כדי
I'm
לתכנן
listening to
בהתאם
you in order to
ואני רוצה
learn and to
לומר גם
plan accordingly.
שאנחנו
And I'd
תוכנית
also
המבצע
like to
היא
say
השבת
that the
החטופים
purpose of the operation
צה"ל
is to bring back the
מראשון
hostages.
המפקדים
The
אלוף
IDF,
הפיקוד פיקוד דרום ועד
from
החיילים החטופים
the top commander, the
יודעים
commander of the Southern
שהחטופים לנגד
District,
עינינו
and all the
והחטופים
other
שלי
commanders are
נעשה הכל
always
כדי להשיב
constantly
אותם
thinking about
וכדי
bringing back
למצוא
the
אותם
hostages, and we'll do everything back in order to bring them back and not to harm them.
תודה רבה
Thank you very much.